Welcome back to the Quantum Thread, weaving the future of the internet. Today, we're diving deep into something that honestly sounds a bit like science fiction, but is very much real and rapidly evolving. Vogon technology. For years, we've talked about the future of digital interaction, data ownership, and what true security really looks like. Well, Vogon claims to be the answer to a lot of those big questions.
And it's not just claims, Paul. When you dig into it, Vogon really seems to be building a foundational shift. I mean, we're constantly hearing about data breaches, privacy concerns, the fragility of our online lives. My inbox is full of notifications about another service I use having its data compromised. It feels like we're always playing defense.
Exactly, Susan. And that's where Vogon really steps in. It's pitched as a superior technology, not just an incremental improvement. We're talking about a completely new software stack designed from the ground up to be secure, fault-tolerant, and user-centric. Think of it as the Internet 5.0, but with a serious upgrade in core capabilities.
That's a great way to put it, Jamal. And what's really interesting is that Vogon isn't just one feature, it's a comprehensive ecosystem. The folks behind it, CrowdPoint Technologies, really highlight what they call 8 reasons why Vogon should be the technology of choice. And honestly, these reasons tackle some of the biggest challenges facing digital infrastructure today.
8 reasons? That sounds like a lot to unpack, but I'm intrigued. Where do we even start with something like that? Is there a primary one that sets the stage for everything else?
I think the best place to start is with fault tolerance. This is reason number 1, and it's absolutely crucial. Imagine if Google or Amazon went down completely, or a major financial system. The ripple effects would be catastrophic. Vogon is engineered to be incredibly resilient. It's built in such a way that even if parts of the system fail, the entire network continues to operate without interruption.
So, like no single point of failure? We've heard that phrase before, but how does Vogon achieve it in a way that's genuinely different?
It goes beyond just redundancy. It's a fundamental architectural decision. The system is so distributed and designed with self-healing mechanisms that it can withstand significant outages or attacks. You know how some systems have backup servers? Vogon takes that concept to an entirely new level, spreading operations across a vast, decentralized network, making it incredibly robust. It's always on, always available, which is a huge promise.
That's reassuring, especially for critical infrastructure. But how does it ensure the integrity of the data it's handling if it's so spread out? That brings us to reason number 2, right? The distributed ledger technology aspect?
Spot on, Paul. Reason 2 is indeed distributed ledger technologies, or DLT. We often hear this in the context of blockchain, but Vogon leverages DLT in a profound way. It's about creating a tamper-proof record of all transactions and interactions. Every piece of data, every action is recorded across the network, making it practically impossible to alter or fake.
Right. Think of it as an unchangeable, verifiable history book that everybody can see, but nobody can rewrite. This immutability is key not just for financial transactions, but for anything requiring trust and transparency. Supply chains, medical records, legal documents, anything that benefits from an unalterable audit trail. It builds trust inherently into the system.
So it's not just about stopping things from crashing, but also about making sure what's there is legitimate and hasn't been fiddled with. That's a huge step forward for trust online. But what about us, the individual users? My biggest concern is always who owns my data.
And that leads us perfectly to reason number 3, digital identity and sovereignty. This is where Vogon really empowers the individual. Instead of companies owning your data, Vogon aims to give you complete control. Your digital identity isn't just a username and password, it's a self-sovereign identity that you manage.
Imagine having a digital wallet not just for money, but for every piece of your personal data. Your health records, your educational certificates, your professional history. You decide who gets access, when, and for how long. You grant permissions, you revoke them. It flips the current model on its head, moving from a centralized data hoard mentality to a decentralized, user-controlled paradigm. It's literally my data, my rules.
Wow, that's powerful. No more signing up for a new service and just blindly clicking agree to terms and conditions that basically say we own everything you share. That would be a game changer for privacy. But looking ahead, are there any threats that could undermine even this level of security?
That's a very insightful question, Paul, because it brings us to reason number 4, quantum resistance. This is a bit more futuristic, but incredibly important. As quantum computing advances, the encryption methods we rely on today could potentially be broken. Vogon is being built with algorithms that are designed to withstand attacks from even the most powerful quantum computers.
It's about future-proofing. We're not there yet with quantum computers that can break current encryption, but the threat is on the horizon. Vogon is proactively integrating quantum-resistant cryptography, ensuring that even as technology progresses, the underlying security of the network remains uncompromised. It's a very forward-thinking approach to security, anticipating threats before they fully materialize.
So they're not just fixing today's problems, but tomorrow's too. That's a huge relief. All right, we've talked about robustness, data integrity, user control, and future-proof security. What's next on this list of 8?
Next up is reason number 5, autonomous AI. Now, when people hear AI, they often think of ChatGPT or self-driving cars. But in Vogon, AI isn't just an application running on top of the system, it's integrated into its very fabric, operating autonomously to enhance the network's capabilities and efficiency.
Think of these as smart agents within the Vogon ecosystem. They can manage resources, optimize processes, even detect and respond to anomalies or security threats without constant human oversight. It makes the entire system more dynamic, efficient, and self-managing. It's AI working for the network, not just on it.
So the AI helps the system run itself better? That sounds like it could lead to incredible efficiency, but also a bit complex to develop, right? How do developers even build on something so sophisticated?
Excellent question, Paul, and it brings us to reason number 6, microservices architecture. This is a key enabler for developers. Instead of building one giant monolithic application, Vogon allows for the development of small, independent services that communicate with each other. It's like building with Legos instead of trying to carve everything from one huge block of stone.
Precisely. Each microservice handles a specific function, and they can be developed, deployed, and scaled independently. This makes development much faster, more flexible, and resilient. If one microservice has an issue, it doesn't bring down the entire application. It also makes it easier to update and integrate new features without disrupting the whole system. It's agile, scalable, and robust.
That makes a lot of sense for developers. It sounds like it makes the whole process much more manageable. So we've got the building blocks and the smarts. What about making things happen automatically and trustlessly?
That brings us to reason number 7, smart contract functionality. This is a powerful feature enabled by DLT. Smart contracts are essentially self-executing agreements. Once the predetermined conditions are met, the contract automatically executes without the need for intermediaries or manual intervention. Think of it as code that enforces agreements.
A perfect example is in supply chains. Imagine a contract that automatically releases payment to a supplier once a shipment arrives at its destination, verified by IoT sensors. No invoices, no delays, no disputes over whether goods were received, or even escrow services. Funds are held and only released when both parties fulfill their part of the agreement, all enforced by code on the DLT. It automates trust and reduces friction in so many industries.
That's incredible. It streamlines so many processes and cuts out the middleman, which often means lower costs and greater efficiency. Okay, so we're down to the final reason. What's the 8th reason Vogon is the technology of choice?
The 8th and final reason, but by no means the least important, is tokenization and digital assets. This really opens up new economic models and forms of ownership. Anything can be tokenized: real estate, art, intellectual property, even your own personal data. These tokens can then be securely owned, traded, and managed on the Vogon network.
It's about creating true digital ownership and unlocking liquidity for assets that were traditionally illiquid. Imagine owning a fractional share of a high-value painting or a piece of a patent. It democratizes access to assets and creates entirely new marketplaces. And because it's built on DLT, the ownership is verifiable and immutable, tied directly to your digital identity.
So not only do I own my data and identity, but I can also own and trade assets in a completely new, secure way. That really ties everything together, doesn't it? From fault tolerance to digital identity to new forms of economic participation. It's a comprehensive vision.
It absolutely does, Paul. When you look at these 8 reasons collectively, fault tolerance, distributed ledger technology, digital identity and sovereignty, quantum resistance, autonomous AI, microservices architecture, smart contract functionality, and tokenization and digital assets, you start to see a coherent picture of a truly next-generation digital infrastructure. It's not just fixing a few things, it's rebuilding the foundation.
And the implications are massive. For businesses, it means unprecedented security, efficiency, and new revenue streams. For individuals, it's about reclaiming ownership, privacy, and participating in a more equitable digital economy. It really shifts the power dynamic.
I'm genuinely impressed. Before this, Vogon was just a name, but understanding these 8 pillars really illustrates why it's being hailed as a superior technology. It's addressing the core vulnerabilities and inefficiencies of our current digital landscape and offering solutions that feel genuinely revolutionary rather than just iterative. Precisely. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major shift, and Vogon is positioning itself to be at the forefront of that. It's definitely a space to watch. Thank you, Jamal and Susan, for breaking down these complex concepts so clearly for our listeners. This has been an incredibly insightful discussion.
My pleasure, Paul. It's exciting stuff, and I think we're just scratching the surface of what Vogon can achieve.
Absolutely, Susan. And I hope our listeners feel a bit more empowered and informed about where technology is heading and how they can potentially benefit from systems like Vogon.
Couldn't agree more. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning into the Quantum Thread, weaving the future of the Internet. We'll be back next time with more deep dives into the innovations shaping our world. Until then, stay curious. For more information, visit vogon.cloud.